sanctificetur nomen tuum, adveniat regnum tuum, fiat voluntas tua, sicut in cielo et in terra. Panem nostrum quotidianum da nobis hodie, et dimitte nobis debita nostra, sicut et nos dimittimus debitoribus nostris, et ne nos inducas in tentationem, sed libera nos a malo.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Tommy.
And I'm Emily.
And welcome to another Restore Christendom.
Good evening.
Welcome.
It's Sunday evening, February 23rd at 7:17 p.m.
Which means I went live at the right time.
Woo!
Woo.
Always like it when a show starts on time.
I know. It's Emily's thing.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. Who we got here? We got Subliminal.
Jenny was here first.
Yep, Jenny was definitely first. Oh, yeah, I forgot to start with
We
first.
got raided by the Latter-day Sunday crowd.
Right. Yeah, I don't know how that works, but
we didn't have our defenses up. That's
right.
Okay. It happens to the best of us. I don't know if you guys can hear the snoofing in the background. I'm gonna apologize, but also I'm letting the dog do his thing. That's fine.
Yeah, I think you found something in the wall.
If you hear exhaling, it's the dog. Catholic time or something. Yeah, we try to be punctual. You know, it's pretty easy to run mass when the bells go off.
Right. Yeah.
You know, every hour, actually every 15 minutes.
Yeah, we go at 7:50. We need to buy a house right next to a Catholic church so that at 7:15 the bells go off and we know to hit the button.
Yeah, that's true. Or we could just get a grandfather clock.
Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah, we could. I don't know why you haven't got one of those yet.
I just haven't come across one at the thrift store, if I'm being honest.
Sir? You have to do that so loud?
Well, he's using all of his...
That's him doing that.
Yeah.
Wow, it's really coming through.
Yeah, he is snoofing up a storm.
Yes, not nice. We are on Catholic Standard Time.
That's
you
hilarious.
are correct.
That's hilarious.
That is the correct time zone. So what do we got going on today? The dog has stopped snoofing for a minute. I'm sure he'll be back soon.
Oh, I'm sure he's just going to sniff in a different spot.
Yeah.
So today is the 7th Sunday in Ordinary Time. It is also
Sexagesima Sunday. Second Sunday before Lent.
That's the one.
So yeah, next Sunday, and then Lent starts on Ash Wednesday, March 5th. I want to say March 5th.
Sure.
I want to say March 5th.
I don't know. I couldn't be bothered to look at a calendar.
All right, I'm almost positive it's March 5th.
But yeah, so that's what we have going on. We've got we'll do the readings from today, and then we'll discuss our RCIA class this morning, afternoon, or whatever. What we discussed was prayer. That was the topic.
Yeah.
And there's a slew of options in Catholic land on how you can pray.
What types of prayer?
What types of prayer there are.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. We have a couple of things we'll say about that.
And then there's one other thing on the. Oh yeah, JC sent us a little post on X that I'll probably share because I saw it earlier in the week, maybe earlier this weekend. I don't remember. So I saw it and thought it was funny too.
Okay.
So we'll share that at some point, JC.
You guys run on MST. It's actually really funny because these are the time zones that we operate in.
Yeah, no, well, he's on Eastern.
Well,
Connie's on Mormon Standard Time.
oh, okay.
All right.
Good evening, Stacks.
Yo, what up, Stacks?
All right, so we'll just dive into the readings then, I guess.
Yeah, we may as well just dive into the readings.
Okay, so the theme for this Sunday is growth into the image of the Heavenly Father. Careful observance of our own instinctive drives and the behavior of fellow human beings, especially at moments when they do not control themselves, anger, frustration, and fear, teaches us how much we have in common with animals, not only in our physical makeup, but in our instinctive and subconscious life as well. The motion pictures of Walt Disney show how selfish and cruel animals in the jungle can be. And which of us has not experienced how horribly little children can behave towards one another? It takes a lifetime of constant maturation to outgrow the animal in us, and some hardly make it.
Yep.
Even as seniors, their minds are not yet in control of their passions and selfish desires. Christianity, that beautiful philosophy of life, offers guidelines on how to grow into maturity, but also gives motivations and reasons for doing so. Christian growth into maturity is growth into maturity in Christ and a challenge to be kind and a challenge to be the kind of person our Heavenly Father is. Today's Bible readings invite us to meditate upon a few aspects of Christian growth into the image of God. The first reading.
Not Nice Guy asked how the Pope is, and we will touch on that after the Mass readings at some point.
Still critical condition.
Yeah.
Old guy critical condition.
Yeah, renal failure. We'll talk about the Pope in a little bit.
This Old Testament tradition shows us a beautiful feature of David's character. His magnanimity.
Magnanimity?
Yeah, that one. Magnanimity. He spares his enemy when he could easily kill him with impunity. Note that David's reason for letting Saul live is that he does not dare lay hands on the Lord's anointed king out of fear that he might be punished. With reference to today's gospel, the point of this reading for us is mainly David's compassion to be followed. Though his motive is good and laudable, we could not expect David already to possess the insight and motivation that the gospel gives for moral behavior. The responsorial Psalms accent on the mercy of God introduces the gospel exhortation to be compassionate. The first reading is 1 Samuel 26, 2, 7 through 9, 12 through 13, 22 through 23. So it's a smattering of 1 Samuel 26.
Yeah.
A reading from the first book of Samuel. In those days, Saul went down to the desert of Ziph with 3,000 picked men of Israel to search for David in the desert of Ziph. So David and Abishai went among Saul's soldiers by night and found Saul lying asleep within the barricade, with his spear thrust into the ground at his head, and Abner and his men sleeping around him. Abishai whispered to David, "God has delivered your enemy into your grasp this day. Let me nail him to the ground with one thrust of the spear. I will not need a second thrust." But David said to Abishai, "Do not harm him, for who can lay hands on the Lord's anointed and remain unpunished?" So David took the spear and the water jug from their place at Saul's head, and they got away without anyone seeing or knowing or awakening. All remained asleep because the Lord had put them into a deep slumber. Going across to an opposite slope, David stood on a remote hilltop at a great distance from Abner, son of Ner, and the troops. Abner, son of Ner, and the troops. He said, "Here is the king's spear. Let an attendant come over to get it. The Lord will reward each man for his justice and faithfulness. Today, though the Lord delivered you into my grasp, I would not harm the Lord's anointed." The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
So that's pretty gangster.
Yeah. David rolled up on him. Could have easily killed him. and instead just took his spear and kind of proved this point. Like, hey, bud, I was there. I could have killed you.
Mm.
Send somebody over, come get this spear.
I got your spear and your water. You want
Yeah.
it back?
Send somebody over here to get it, and then scurry off in defeat.
Know that I could have had you, and I chose not to.
Right. Yeah. Which does set a precedent, though, which is odd in kingdoms for kings for assassinations
hmm
to not happen. Usually, that somebody wants power and they kill
yeah,
the
it's
king, and they
pretty good.
assume power. Somebody in their bloodline assumes power.
hmm
That doesn't really happen to the Israeli kings throughout history because of this standard set by David.
Yeah.
You don't touch the anointed king of Israel. I don't care what he's trying to do to you or how bad he is.
Yeah. Well, and then also we have to remember that the only reason Saul is king at this time was because the Israelite people were like, "We need a king. We need
Yeah.
a king. We
Basically-
need a king." And
basically
God
begged
said,
God for one.
"Okay, here's Saul.
Yeah.
Have fun with that."
I'm your king. You don't need a king.
Yeah. So, and then David understanding this is God's chosen king and yada yada. But yeah, so for a long time there isn't Israeli kings getting murked. So that's good. Sorry, he's on the hunt for something.
Yeah.
So second reading is going to be from Corinthians. Paul compares our risen Lord Jesus with the Adam of the book of Genesis. Adam is our origin and model as plain human beings. Jesus Christ is our origin and model as baptized Christians who are reborn from water and spirit. As such, we are now already like the heavenly one, Jesus Christ, to a certain extent. Our likeness to Christ will be realized more perfectly in the resurrection. During our lifetime, we should constantly grow into the likeness of the risen Lord, and in him into the likeness of the Heavenly Father. Are you hearing any of that whining that he's doing?
I am hearing it, yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. That's what had me chuckling because I hear a snoof snoof and a.
Yeah, I know. He wants whatever's in there.
I'm sure you guys can hear it too. All right. So 1 Corinthians 15, 45 through 49. A reading from the first letter of St. Paul to the Corinthians. Brothers and sisters, it is written, the first man, Adam, became a living being, and the last Adam, a life-giving spirit. But the spiritual was not first, rather the natural, and then the spiritual. The first man was from the earth, earthly, the second man from heaven. As was the earthly one, so are the earthly, and is the heavenly one, so are the heavenly. Just as we have borne the image of the earthly one, we shall also bear the image of the heavenly one. The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
And the gospel. This reading continues Jesus' sermon in which he challenges his followers to attain perfection. Throughout the ages, countless men and women have tried to follow the recommendations set forth in this sermon, and those who have succeeded have become great saints. We also should try to do so. Love of enemies has already been treated in detail. The exhortation to lend expecting nothing back should cause us no wonder if we remember that in biblical times, money did not yet have the commercial function it has now. Moreover, there is a vast difference between a bank granting a business a loan and an individual helping a friend as well as possible under the circumstances. We might also compare the motivation for showing mercy to others found in the words, "Be merciful just as your Father is merciful," with that of David. Both motives are good, but the one of the gospel is more perfect. Finally, we must keep in mind that the words, "Give, and the gifts will be given to you," provide just one motive for generosity. It does not have to be our only one. The Gospels offer many reasons for us to be generous. So it'll be Luke 6:27 through 38. Jesus said to his disciples, To you who hear, I say, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who mistreat you. To the person who strikes you on one cheek, offer the other one as well. And from the person who takes your cloak, do not withhold even your tunic. Give to everyone who asks of you, and from the one who takes what is yours, do not demand it back. Do to others as you would have them do to you. For if you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good to those who do good to you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners do the same. If you lend money to those from whom you expect repayment, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners and get back the same amount. But rather love your enemies and do good to them, and lend expecting nothing back, and your reward will be great, and your children and you will be the children of the Most High, for he himself is kind to ungrateful and the wicked. Be merciful just as your Father is merciful. Stop judging, and you will not be judged. Stop condemning, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and gifts will be given to you. A good measure, packed together, shaken down, and overflowing will be poured into your lap. For the measure in which you measure will in return be measured out to you. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
And that's that for the readings.
And that's the readings. Okay. Yeah, that's a good gospel for the day. That is definitely a tough one to live down.
I don't know. Lays it out pretty simple.
Yeah.
Set you up pretty good for
Yeah, it's really easy to read it and agree with it. It's a lot more difficult to live it.
I mean, yeah, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
It's not always so easy to turn the other cheek. It's not always so easy to give to people. You know, it's
When I stay my ass at home, it is.
No, there's a difference
I
between
know.
loving people and avoiding people.
I know.
So, there's that.
I can love them. I just don't have to be around them. It's the being around them and loving them part that gets to me.
Yep, that's the tough part.
I can, if you're over there, I can
love the shit out of you from afar, yes.
Yeah. I can love the idea of you not being you and being better if you're over there.
Right.
But if you're in my face and I see it, it's going to be a lot of work on my end.
Yeah.
A lot of work on my end.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
but that's the seventh Sunday in Ordinary Time. Our readings 2 weeks out from Lent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of Lent, yes, it's what did we say, the 5th? I'm pretty sure I said March 5th.
Yeah, that's what you said.
I'm pretty sure that's correct. But yes, everybody, regardless of being Catholic or not, if you are a Christian, if you believe in Jesus Christ, then you should partake in Lent.
Yeah.
It is a way for you to share in Jesus' suffering. It's a way to link yourself to Jesus. Like, I mean, clearly we're not going to suffer near as bad as he did.
No.
But, when you're a little hungry and you're not able to eat things you want to eat and you're not doing something that makes you comfortable for 40 days, it really kind of helps draw you a little closer to Christ.
Yeah.
Especially when you're suffering so that you can suffer with him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, everybody should be doing something for Lent. And it should be something tough. It shouldn't be easy. It shouldn't be like, oh, let me just give up this thing because, I'm not going to miss it anyway. I don't really do it that often. Haha.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
And it shouldn't be for selfish reasons. It shouldn't be like, oh, I'm going to do this because, it's good for me. It's better for me. It should be something that you're doing specifically to suffer with the Lord. So should be no selfish reasons for doing it.
Is there something specific that you're thinking of
No.
in that?
No, I'm just
Oh, you don't have like an example off the
no.
top of your head?
Well, I'm sure there's plenty of things people, No, the doctor told me to give up this, so I'm gonna give it up for Lent.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
I gotcha.
Like that's not really suffering for Jesus. That's just doing what you're supposed to do,
That's just following doctor's guidelines.
or just doing what a decent
Yeah.
person should. Man, that dog is fixated there.
Yeah. He's staring at a corner.
Yeah.
Like he got put in timeout.
Right.
Uh,
So anyway, you wanted to talk about prayer.
yeah. Well, I guess specifically I was going to mention the examine. It's a 5-part reflection on your day that Saint Ignatius came up with. I'll just read this thing. The examine is a method of reviewing your day in the presence of God. It's actually an attitude more than a method, a time set aside for thankful reflection on where God is in your everyday life. It has 5 steps, which most people take more or less in order, and it usually takes 15 to 20 minutes a day. Step 1, ask God for light. I want to look at my day with God's eyes, not merely my own. Step 2, give thanks. The day I have just lived is a gift from God. Be grateful for it. Step 3, review the day. I carefully look back on the day I just completed, being guided by the Holy Spirit. Step 4, face your shortcomings. I face up to what is wrong in my life and in me. Step 5, look forward to the day to come. I ask where I need God in the day to come. So it's just a quick 5-minute, or not 5-minute, 5-step, 20-minute review process. And I think that it's a pretty similar end of day recap that most of us do anyways.
Yeah.
I've always been the type of person while I'm laying there before I go to bed. How was today a decent day?
Yeah.
What could I do better tomorrow to make it a better day?
Yeah.
Where did I fudge up that I could not fudge up tomorrow?
Did I do something today that I feel shameful about?
Right.
Did I do something today that I'm proud of?
Right.
How does Jesus feel about the way I just lived my day today?
Yeah. So
these are all questions that should be asked.
Yeah. And maybe not right before we go to bed, right? Maybe I'll get better at doing this at different points in my day. You could do this 10 times a day if you wanted to. You don't have to just do it the one time a day. But it's I guess if I'm going to use 2025 language, it's a mindfulness, it's a self-awareness way of praying.
Now, I will say it's definitely useful.
Mm-hmm.
There is a time and place for it. Like I said, usually at the end of the day, probably laying in bed or, as you're getting, as you're winding down at the end of the day. And you've already done, you've prayed the rosary.
Thank you, ladies.
What's that? Oh.
I saw Emily said earlier that my hair was pretty.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
just saw another one that my hair is so pretty. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
So what was I saying again? Oh, yeah. So it shouldn't, you still need to do your daily prayers, rosary, the Angelus, whatever else you like to pray throughout the day. There's a million different prayers you can do, but you need to spend that time in actual prayers. Because the one thing that they talked about today, when talking about prayer, like it was all basically like imagination type prayer, like reflecting on read this passage, put yourself in that spot.
Mm-hmm.
Just sit there in silence and really try to go through your head. It was.
Oh, I know where he's going with this. It's the imaginative prayer.
Yes, imaginative type prayer. Another way she called it centering prayer, which is something simpler. It's very similar though.
Yeah.
It's all the same similar type of thing.
Yeah.
It's and like I said, it's got its place, but it shouldn't be your main type of prayer.
No. So these are okay.
In my opinion. But again, you know what I mean? Like this is just my opinion. I am not an expert on this at all.
this is also a my opinion statement. The types of prayer that we were told about today. Not that I don't think that they should be telling our CIA people about them. I just think that this should be a year into being a Catholic class. I don't think that this should be your opening as a Catholic. Here's how you pray.
Yeah,
I
I
this
thought it was
isn't
very confusing for a lot of people that
this
might not know
isn't
better.
this isn't it. But also, I learned in this class, this is how the Catholic Church got Russell Brand.
Mhm.
This type of stuff. This type of stuff is how they got him, and what'll keep him here. But
Yeah, a lot of new agey kind of.
so I'll just
At
read.
least the way it's portrayed, it was explained like an old like a 4th century Ignatian type thing, but
Mhm.
that's not really how it wound up working out at the end. It really, the way she went through it, it sounded more new agey than it did
Yeah.
Ignatian.
Yes, and this is a frustration that I have, and I think
Like the way it's written on the page there sounds Ignatian, sounds
right.
proper.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah. But the so and this is the frustration I have, but also something that I appreciate about the church is we have this wealth of history. We have, this theory or this practice of prayer from Ignatius of Loyola from way back when. Like we have that, and it's great. It serves a purpose. It's wonderful. But I also need 2025 people to understand that, like, you're not capable of meditating and thinking of these things in the same way that he was or that he intended people to.
Right. It's just not the same world anymore.
You don't have that brain. You don't have that world reflected to you.
Yeah. These people lived in a monastery in the middle of nowhere and saw nobody other than the
Yeah,
other
like
monks.
not that they ran out of things to pray about, but like that was their entire existence from the time they woke up until the time they went to bed was prayer and contemplating God's word.
Yeah.
So at some point you have to do something to zhuzh it up and get your brain re-engaged in it, which is great, it's one of the things that I think is wonderful. Keep it around, use it, sure, but save it for like seasoned Catholics. Give it to the
Yeah.
people who are having a issue in their prayer life, who feel like their prayer life is stagnant. Just doing the daily Catholic prayers every day. I'm not feeling it.
Yeah,
It's not giving it to me.
Like there's 3 main prayers that entry level Catholics should be praying every day just to build a habit of prayer.
Mhm.
And it's the Our Father, the Hail Mary, and the Glory Be.
Yeah.
I mean those are staple prayers for Catholics. I don't think most people in that class even realize that.
Probably not.
I don't think most of them pray either of them, because I don't think a lot of those people pray the rosary, at least not yet. And she didn't mention those 3 prayers at all.
Nope.
Those 3 prayers, and really, she mentioned rosaries as a thing, but she didn't really talk about the prayers at all.
No.
So you skipped out on the 3 main prayers that make up the rosary, and then the rosary, which should be the biggest staple in Catholic prayer life. You start out there and you go
Venture your way out.
Yeah, you venture your way out from there.
Yeah.
Um,
And then she didn't even there was no mention of the Catholic Book of Prayers or the Catholic prayer book.
mm-mm.
It's like a little. Mine's upstairs. So I should probably have it down here. But
Mine's
it's
over there. But yeah,
it's
I've showed it on the show before.
It's a small little book, and it has your morning prayers. It has your evening prayers. It has the
daily prayers
for the dailies. It has prayers to some different saints in there. It has your act of hope, your act of contrition, your act of love, increased faith. Like there's a good amount of prayers in that thing, and it wasn't even mentioned.
Yeah, prayers to Mary. Yeah, it didn't even get brought up.
It wasn't even mentioned. Yeah, she did mention adoration.
Yes, but then even at adoration, she was talking more about you should, instead of reading the word or praying to God or praying a rosary or a divine chaplet, you should just sit there and stare at it.
Yeah.
And then do your imaginative prayers. And I'm like, again, like in the last 15 minutes, maybe. But like, there's some like serious work that needs to be done between now and then at adoration. Like,
yeah. I don't. It's It's interesting. It's another week where we go to class, we come out of class, and we're like, okay, it makes sense. Totally makes sense why it's a dumpster fire. Totally makes sense why there's the issues that there are.
Yeah, I understand why.
Every week I get a clearer picture.
Yes, I understand why Catholics can't agree on what is doctrine. Why some Catholics are so just clueless when it comes to
What they actually
what the Catholic Church actually believes and what proper worship actually looks like. And I'm not going to sit here and tell anybody what that is, because we're way too new to be trying to give you guys trying to jump into this
Wrongs
argument
and rights,
on the liturgy wars and things like that. I'm not gonna get in there. I'm just gonna say I understand why there's lots of poorly catechized Catholics. I get it, because if this is what the adults are getting, like, I can't imagine what the kids are being taught.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
I'm sure.
And then once the kids are taught, like, as kids, they don't bother to look into it again. They just show up to mass on Sundays if they continue to come to mass.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I completely understand the problems in the Catholic Church right now. It all boils down to catechesis.
Yeah, poorly catechized.
Yep.
Poorly catechized.
I don't know how you fix
people
it.
Catechizing other people.
Yeah, I don't know how you fix it. I mean, I guess
I think the only way to fix situations like that is to have a healthy parish life where you have small groups, small catechesis groups, small Bible study groups, small groups where you have people who want to learn this stuff together and have these conversations.
Yeah, and I guess that's it. I think it's just a broader problem with society as a whole, because, like, you can't make it like, oh, you have to memorize, the whole 800 pages of the Catechism of the Catholic Church before you can become Catholic. Because then you're basically saying,
nobody's
like,
going to be Catholic.
well, not that, but it's like, so you're basically saying you can't be Christian and receive God's freely given gift until after you do all these
Jump
things.
through all these human hoops. Yeah.
Like, the way they do it now is to just let people understand this is what you're agreeing to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It is people's job to continue the catechesis after confirmation.
That is true.
And the problem is most people see confirmation as the final thing, not the beginning.
Right.
Like, once you're confirmed in the Catholic Church at the beginning, and now it's your job to look into Catholicism, understand the finer points of it and the rules and the regulations and why we believe these things, and what's appropriate, what's not.
Yeah. How did we come to these beliefs?
Yeah. But instead, people just they get the entry level and never bother to go any deeper into it than that.
Well, yeah, you're good. You get to get the Eucharist.
Yeah, and I mean that is the most important thing, I guess. But you should just know. You should know a little more than what people know now. So yeah, it is what it is.
I agree, but then you've got mainstream media telling them to pay attention to this, and then you have ex-influencers telling them to look at that, and then the news conspiracy theory dropped.
Yeah.
They got, that's there's other things that find.
Yes, there's lots of things more important than your eternal salvation.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that there's a lot of other things that we can find.
No, that's how people act, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's how people act, is there's things far more important than their eternal salvation.
Yep. That's okay. I've been guilty of it too. So who am I?
Yeah, I'm just some guy in a glass house throwing stones.
Eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm just some guy.
I'll call Safe Light tomorrow. I don't give a crap.
Yep. Just some guy in a glass house throwing stones. That's all. Don't mind me.
Yeah. Put down the cell phone. It was I guess maybe at some point I'm gonna have to ask Mr. Therapist if he tried what I said. Because you remember when we first were talking about prayer, the week that this lady wasn't able to do it, and we were like, we're supposed to talk about prayer, and that's whenever they gave us the prayer book from Bishop.
Right.
Anyways, we have a therapist in our class, and he made the point to say something in the discussion that his struggle is finding the time to pray. So I just scribbled down a little note, told Buddy to do a time audit. I don't know if this is an actual thing. This is just what I do. Sometimes when I find myself saying, I don't have time, I'm like, well, B word, what are you doing? You got all the time in the world. What do you mean you ain't got no time? So I'll track what I do by the hour. What am I doing? And between, 6 and 7 a.m., what am I doing? Scrolling my phone. Between 7 and 8 a.m., what am I doing? Scrolling my phone. Between 8 and 9 a.m., what am I doing? Oh, I let the dog out and I gathered the laundry. Okay, cool. So I don't actually do anything between 6 and 8 a.m. That's 2 hours. I found 2 hours in 5 minutes, And so that's what I suggested. Just write down the hours in a day, when you wake up and when you go to bed on the hour, and track what you're doing. And I promise you, doing it 3 or 4 days, if you do it a whole week, you'll be really annoyed at yourself. But if you do it 3 or 4 days, you'll be like, I definitely have 20 minutes. I have 20 minutes in the afternoon to do some praying.
Yeah.
At minimum, I got 20 minminutes. I found it.
I think he's really getting close to realizing too that proper prayer and confession will eliminate his job.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he's realizing like, oh, my whole thing's a scam.
Yeah. My whole thing is a usurpation of the church.
Yes. Yep.
My entire industry. Emily's Doge. Honestly, hey, whenever the Department of Government Efficiency, whenever I found out Elon was running that, I'm like, yeah, that's what we're good at. We're good at figuring out how you 10-ply people are wasting money because you don't really need it.
Right.
You don't actually. You just think that you do. You're accustomed to getting it. You want it, but you don't actually need it. You could survive without it.
I don't think Catholic charities can survive without it, but yeah.
Well, then I guess they're not worth existing.
Right.
If
I
they're
agree.
if they're not doing enough good work that people will not shell out money to support them, it does not need to exist.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%.
Value for value economy in a nutshell.
I think the Catholic Church and whole, because of all the scandals, the lady, people aren't really donating that much, especially now with knowing how much is going to immigrants and whatnot.
Well, and
so without that money, the Catholic Church is going to be hurting.
And even more people, the ones who do donate, they're not that people are petty with it, but they specify this is parish funds.
Mhm.
This is not diocese funds. This is not willy-nilly slush fund.
Yeah,
This
you
is-
donate specifically to like the
this
building
is to-
fund or
yep,
the
this is-
school fund or something.
Yeah, this is to keep the priests having groceries, the lights on, and the heat on.
Yeah.
That's all I want my money going to.
Yeah. So there's a day of reckoning coming to the Catholic Church, and we may see a big shrink in it because they can't afford to keep a lot of the buildings and stuff anymore because the people are shutting their wallets. But I mean, it'll be what it be. It's never going away good. You know what I mean? Like, we'll figure it out. But the church has needed a reckoning.
Yeah.
So, especially after the child sex abuse scandal where they kind of deflected and still haven't taken full responsibility on that one. And Pope Francis reinstated some of those people. So yeah, now this USCCB and USAID thing is really gonna people are gonna see how deep the government and the church were in cahoots together.
Yeah.
And I think things are gonna be apparent as why certain decisions were made and certain things were said, and it's gonna be
As it should
it's gonna be interesting to say the least.
I'm not like bummed about it. I'm not, not looking forward to that. It gives me zero pause on becoming Catholic. In case anyone's
for sure.
wondering that.
I agree 100%. Like with the higher ups in certain and only in certain positions of power. It's very few that have certain positions that cause all these problems.
Yeah.
But yeah, because of a few, I'm not gonna leave Jesus because of Judas.
Right. Well, and also my own like very unique lived experience. I know how bad God will let it get before he fucking brings down the hammer. I know how wild he will let it get before he says, and not a centimeter further.
Right.
I know what that's like. And this ain't it. It's barely even started.
Right.
It barely even started. We're at the point where like the coworker who has the black eye, who's always falling down the stairs, they just said, nah, they hit me. Right? Like that's where we're at in all of this. We're barely now just finding out like disclosure, barely even peeping to see how messed up and bad it's been.
So I guess from there we can go right into the Pope.
Yeah.
The Pope is sick. Next topic? No. I
don't have specifics on it. The last I heard was
So the Pope is they're calling it critical condition. There's lots of mixed things saying he's in critical condition, but he is up in an armchair. He is requiring oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
I hear he's in renal failure.
Yes.
So I don't I don't know. The Vatican's not going to be pretty straightforward with anything until after he passes. And it'll probably be a day or two after we even find out that it happened.
Yeah.
That's just the way it tends to work. So, you just continue to pray for the Pope, pray for his health. And, should the worst come, then, we get a new Pope, and it'll either be a better Pope or it'll be the same or it'll be worse. But either way, it'll be what it'll be. And the Catholic faithful will just have to do what the Catholic faithful has always done, and that's pray and go to mass and go to confession
Keep
and
doing what we're supposed to be doing.
yeah, and live the most holy life you can possibly live. Are you kidding me? Are you done? I apologize for that dog. Can you guys got to be able to hear that?
I can.
So I can hear my headphones.
But it's not hitting
All right, that one did. Yeah, I don't know. He says yes, but so they can hear it. See, all right. He just wants whatever's in that wall. I don't know. So that covers the Pope. Continue to pray for the Pope. He's not doing great. And who knows? Everybody puts out their lists of who the next Pope's going to be. We got these 14 people that are most like the next Pope's never on those lists.
No, that's true. That is true.
It's just like politics. They say, oh, so and so is going to wind up being the nominee before the primaries even start, and then it's like somebody who wasn't even running at the time they said who the winner's going to be winds up winning. It's all nonsense.
Yeah, Jenny, I think that's what it is.
Yeah, so it's most likely a little mouse in the wall here in the basement, and
that's what I think it is.
As long as it doesn't attack me, I won't attack it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
I don't know.
it is. Yeah, it is wintertime. It's cold outside. It wouldn't shock me that there's a mouse in the basement wall.
No. And this is what our
there's no sign. Yeah, there's no sign of a mouse anywhere. There's no poops anywhere. So I'm not.
And because it is a basement, and because it is wintertime, and because I don't want to run up on a little mouse, I do have a couple of like sticky traps strategically placed here in the basement, and I've never caught anything. So
yeah.
Womp womp. But yeah, mostly we pray for the Pope because it's the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
But also, do we really want that right now? I said this the other day, and I'm just like, I don't want to deal with that right now. That's so much.
Yeah.
That's so much.
Yes, I'm not gonna get Pope pizza, so it doesn't really matter.
Hannah in the MMO chat came across an article about Pizza Balla. And she was like, "This guy's name is Pizza Balla."
Yep, Pope Pizza Balla. Well, he would change it to Pope. He would probably He would probably wind up being Benedict XVII, if I had to guess. If it is Pope, he would be another Benedict, and that'd be fantastic in my opinion. But we're not going to get Pizza Balla. I don't know.
Not the sticky traps. What the heck else kind of trap am I supposed to use? I prefer those over the snappy ones. The snappy ones I'm going to set on myself on accident.
Yeah. I don't trust you with those.
Yeah, I don't
you
like
put it down and you lose a finger.
Break my finger. Yeah. Them sticky ones. I did get one on a sticky thing upstairs, but I knew that one was up there. That was, I don't know, probably not that long after we moved in.
Yeah, by the garbage can or whatever.
Yeah, it was about this time the first year that we moved in. So what, 2 months into being here when everything started to thaw finally? Yeah, Hadley found him. Because you've got the in the kitchen, it's got the Haida trash can where it looks like one of the drawers or a cupboard or whatever. You all know what I'm talking about. So I had the little sticky trap on the back of it. Well, she went to go throw something away, and it's just sitting there. Yeah, I didn't hear it. She wouldn't open the trash can door for like probably 6 months. She was like, every time I think about opening it, I see him in there. And I was like, what? Yeah, see, they're brutal and vicious, and I get that. But for what it's worth, this poor little dude only was stuck there for like maybe 3 hours at the most.
Yeah.
And then I threw him in a plastic bag, and I'm not going to tell you what I did after that, but he didn't suffer much longer. So
yeah. So put that in your pipe and smoke it.
I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. You know, I mean, like, they're not the most humane, I guess, but
Okay,
whatever.
so we've talked about mice now.
I'd rather have the sticky ones than the little things of, like, the poison where they eat the poison and then they die in your wall. I don't want that.
Yeah.
And then the other one, I'm gonna break my own finger trying to set it. So,
Yeah. What else is on the list for this evening? We talked about
we have that post from JC that we were gonna show or look
Oh.
at. And then Arcane Arsenals had sent me one, and I forwarded it to us.
Okay.
I'm also retarded and had a few mice that hung out in my walls. They'd come out at night. Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, no. I saw signs of one the one time, and I was like, nope, not doing this.
Mm.
Time for those glue things, sticky things.
Just part the Catholic thing is going okay this evening.
Extra Catholicly.
Yep. With an extra side of Catholic, just and the dog is down there doing his thing.
Yeah.
So
He's down there bemoaning his inability to get through a wall. He would like to play with a mouse.
yeah. Little Cinderella thing.
Yeah.
So what we say now? What was next on the list? Oh yes, the
JC's post and then
yeah, JC's just posted shared a little funny haha that I thought was funny too.
Oh, that is yeah, that is
Yeah.
good. Okay. We'll present.
Yeah, hold on, let me go back to the beginning.
Wait.
Okay.
Owls.
Yeah. I'm turning the volume down. Okay, so yes, this is one of those posts we see all the time, you know. Research and we see this kind of nonsense. Like,
I don't have to impact their Karen Chromebook.
no, they got a big fat guy breaking chains. Trying to break chains. I think he eventually gets him. Oh, there we go. There's a couple chains are broken. Yeah. This is a Bible-based church, guys.
What do I do? Have a lip pad on it? Oh, it's to the worship.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got to pass it back there with his hand up in the air. Is it a leather vest he got on?
Yeah.
What is wrong with y'all people?
Well, you know.
This is not worship.
It's something. They feel good about it.
I guess.
You know?
I don't know. I don't get the point. It's just not. It's not worship. It's not proper worship for a proper God.
I'd expect to see that at like your local fair.
Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, man, this is the type of church I grew up in with this kind of
like I expect
nonsense.
I expect that on the float at like the pumpkin parade.
Yeah.
Or the daffodil parade.
Right.
You know? Come down to Jimmy's Gym. Where you could be so strong you can break chains. I don't know.
You expect to see it at the local carnival at the sideshow, or you know what I mean? Like this is not church stuff, guys. Like, oh, look at the strength of the power of Jesus. It breaks it. Like, no, it's just a fat guy.
Yeah,
breaking chains.
That's a big old boy.
Yeah. Like, I don't understand what a fat guy breaking chains has to do with Jesus, but because this guy in the background's got his hand up in the air and they're playing some kind of like super gay worship music stuff. Where's the smoke machine?
It's an interpretive dance.
Yeah, there's guitars hanging. There's electric guitars hanging on the wall, so you know. There's the smoke machine's not far. It's in there somewhere.
That's true.
Tyrone Cooperfield.
Oh, is that David Blame?
That's awesome. I like the Tyrone Copperfield better.
Tyrone Copperfield, David Blaine. I like it. Yeah.
I guess it's a kid show. You know what we do at Catholic Church for a kid show? It's called Mass. They get to sit through Mass like everybody else.
Yeah, that is kid church.
Yeah. Okay, and then the other one you wanted to show was which one? Right here?
No, that's still.
Oh, this is still JC. Yes, never mind. Let me go to Emily. Sister Emily. Here we go.
Yeah, this is.
Oh, yeah, Archbishop Vigano.
Yeah, that's what Arcane sent me. I don't know if you wanted to, or if you know about it, then it's fine.
Yeah, I've seen this. I haven't looked too deep into it. Let me.
Okay.
You can go ahead and read that.
Um.
Oops. There we are.
let's see, Archbishop Carlo Maria Vigano was
Vigano.
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 Fuck you. Was excommunicated from the church by order of the now very sick Pope Francis and issued a grave warning, alleging that the Pope is an enthusiastic collaborator in the Great Reset. He claims that the Pope's goal was to dismantle the church and replace it with an organization inspired by Masonic principles. He further contends that a sinister conspiracy exists between the deep state and the deep church, reminding us that the Pope is a Jesuit.
Yeah.
All
So
accurate statements.
again, I'm the new guy in town, so I'm not going to go ahead and say these are factual statements. But from somebody who was looking at things going on,
Pope
it would
Francis is
appear
a Jesuit. That is
a factual statement. Yes.
that is a true.
Yes. No, I respect Archbishop Vigano. He says a lot of great stuff.
Mhm.
You know, he was excommunicated from the
I'm
church
not
for
gonna
saying
try
these
to-
things about Francis. That's so
Yeah, I'm not going to try to understand Francis's motives.
right. But from somebody who was just on the outside looking in, it would appear that a lot of the statement would be correct.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to pretend to know the man's heart or why things are done the way they're done or why he's made decisions he's made.
Certain things started to change once
Right.
someone was
Like the whole synodal church thing is completely new to Catholicism. We're not a synodal church.
No.
We are very much a top down church.
well, the idea of the synod actually comes from friggin' Vatican II.
Yeah. But
So, I mean, and that's where I become hesitant to put this all in Francis's lap.
no.
I do not think that Mr. 1.5 Lungs cooked up this whole scheme on his own.
No.
I don't think that.
This has been a long if this is true,
Right.
yes, this has been a long-term thing since the 60s.
Right. It's been an inside club. It's been a deep state situation, you know what I mean? Like it's
one of those things where certain people it appears to be. Now, I don't know, I'm not stating this is what's going on, people, because again, I'm just
what do we know?
what do I know? But what it appears is that since Vatican II, there was a lot of loosely worded documents in Vatican II that would be open for wider interpretation, if you would. Whether it was done on purpose or not, I don't know. But because of that is why some people higher up in the church since then have been implementing some really poor things, in my opinion, into the church, into the mass, into all aspects of Catholic life. Now that they haven't so much, like I said, changed the dogmas or the doctrines of the church.
No, they've just made the church less church-like and more worldly.
Yeah, they've messed with the mass a lot and changed it and done things and changed a lot of rules about who can touch the Eucharist and things like that, and just the whole rubrics of the mass, if you can even call it, if you can even say it has rubrics anymore.
No, it's
There's no hermeneutic of continuity if that's the route you want to go. But so it's not necessarily even Vatican II itself that is so bad. Most of the documents from Vatican II aren't really that far off.
It's just the interpretations of
it's the things that have been done in the spirit of Vatican II, like Sancto Sanctilium talks about how Latin is supposed to be preserved in the Mass, even with this new order of Mass. It was only supposed to change slightly. It was still supposed to preserve Latin and chanting. And what did we do away with completely? Latin and chanting. And did it all with gay piano singing now, and zero Latin. In fact, if you even hear a word of Latin uttered, the Mimas on the parish council will be right on the phone with the bishop and have that shut down.
The only time that we get away with Latin at Blessed Sacrament is at Eucharistic adoration. And that was a weird sound. I did not like that sound.
Yeah. Anyway.
But anyways, the Latin at the beginning of Eucharistic adoration,
and at the end, at the
end. But that's mostly because it's a specific song, and it's in Latin, and not that the other one isn't as good, but in English, it's not as good.
Yeah,
it doesn't have the same.
No, and it
reverence.
doesn't have the same. It just doesn't have the same vibe or reverence when it's sung instead of chanted either.
Yeah, that's true.
And the whole reason for chanting is because you don't need as wide of a range. Like just about anybody can properly chant and sound fine. You don't need a huge vocal range for it. Whereas
No, you
singing especially with piano and the way they do it, it does requires a huge vocal range, and then it sounds like crap as the whole congregation's trying to sing some,
And
the
nobody
Sancta.
can harmonize together. Yeah.
We're trying to sing the Sanctus or holy, holy, holy as they call it because they won't use the Latin, or the
The Gloria.
or the Agnus Dei,
Mm-hmm.
Lamb of God. All that stuff is supposed to still be in Latin and chanted, but it's not.
Nope.
So it is what it is.
Womp womp.
So it's not, I don't want to sit here and say everything in Vatican II is horrible, but a lot of the things implemented in the spirit of Vatican II aren't so great.
Are not that great. Yeah.
So who is the gay and black pope? I don't know.
Who
The
is
gray.
Gray
Yeah, sorry.
and black pope.
Well, the black pope I think kind of more refers to the ape of the church prophecy kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not 100% sure on that, but yes, there are Catholic prophecies that there will be an ape of the church pope that will come in and basically wreck house, and really the church will shrink. Obviously the church won't fall because the Lord promised the gates of hell will not prevail against the church, but it's going to go through some problems.
A restructuring of sorts.
Yeah, an ape of the church will come in and set up almost like a false church. But then after that, a holy pope is supposed to come in and write things, so I don't know. There's lots of Catholic prophecies about a lot of this stuff, and I don't know all of it, to be honest with you. Haven't been around long enough. Haven't had enough time to dig into all this type of stuff. There's so much stuff to learn about actual Catholicism before you start getting into the weird prophecies of, end times and stuff like that. The Great Chastisement, which will be where I think we're close to, as opposed to the end times. Because there's the Great Chastisement, before the end times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but that's just my opinion. And I'm allowed to have that opinion in the Catholic Church. And other people are allowed to say that I'm wrong.
That is true.
So, there's no official doctrine you have to believe about that.
No, there's not.
You're allowed to believe in private revelation. You're allowed to say, I don't believe in that.
Yeah.
So
you just have to believe that it's going to happen.
Well, the end times.
Well,
least,
yeah,
yes.
but the end times will happen and Jesus Christ will come back.
Right. Yeah. You don't have to believe in the prophecies of the chastisement or anything like that.
No.
No. Although I tend to.
Most of them they're useful.
Yeah.
A
lot of them have come true so far. World War I, World War II, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of where we're at right now.
What was the one we were listening to yesterday, hearing about Hildegard's comet?
Oh yeah.
Something about that.
Star falling from the sky and bittering the water and.
Yeah, something about that particular prophecy. When I heard it, I was like, I gotta go find out when she said this, and also when the theory of the dinosaurs started.
Right.
Because the story, like the vision that she had was essentially
a Jewish space laser.
It could have been. It could have been a Jewish space laser. Or it could have been a meteor or an asteroid hitting the Earth and the impact of it wiping out everything.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I heard the prophecy as it was being, explained or whatever. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, man, if I was an archaeologist or a college person, professor, trying to come up with a theory of how these weird reptile fossil things that I think I found, be like, oh, you know what? Yep, it was definitely a meteor. That's how that's how the dinosaurs got wiped out.
Meteor or Jewish space laser, one of the two. You don't know they didn't have them back then?
You're right, I didn't. I don't know that.
Yeah.
Tartaria and whatnot.
Right. So, all right. I think that about covers the topics we were going to cover today.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the list of them.
So, yeah. You'll be back tomorrow?
Oh, yeah. Tomorrow's Monday. So, yeah, I'll be here for Morning Crew at 6:30 a.m. Central. You can find me over at Nephilim Morning Crew on Rumble and Kick.
Yep. And then I think Tuesday I am going to go live at 6 p.m. Central for another Tuesdays with Tommy.
Yes.
the Battle of Lepanto, I believe, is what I'm going to cover.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So we did Malta last week. I think I'll do Lepanto this week. And then I don't know. And then from there we'll see. I may do more Catholic military type stuff, or I may switch topics. We'll see.
Okay.
But for now, check me out Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central for we're going to talk about the naval battle of Lepanto, and the feast of the Queen of the Holy Rosary.
Oh yeah, that is. It's all tied up in the same
Yep.
thing.
Yes, it is.
All right.
So yeah, 2 birds, 1 stone. Yeah, and then we'll be back on Wednesday at our normal time, 7:15, for another one of these episodes.
Yes.
So
Maybe on Wednesday we'll get into this Vegano video.
yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, I'm treading lightly around these types of topics.
Yeah.
Just there's too much I don't know about history.
There are some that are cans of worms that are not worth opening.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, I just don't know that I'm in a spot that, because Vegano is definitely a set of Acontas to the point of, was it Pius XII? It was before John the 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
Was the last real pope.
Oh yeah.
He's the whole Vatican II pre-conciliar popes are all anti-popes.
He's a Mel Gibson Catholic.
Yeah. So, I am not equipped to tread in these waters.
Yeah. I'm not either.
But it is interesting. I do find it super interesting. So yeah, maybe we'll talk about it more. We'll see.
At least have 3 days to look at it.
Yeah.
And maybe decide if we have an opinion on it.
Right. So, all right, everybody. Thanks for coming out. We really appreciate you being here. And we will see you next time.
Yep. God bless you guys.
God bless everyone.
Pater noster, qui es in celis, sanctificetur nomen tuum, adveniat regnum tuum, fiat voluntas tua, sicut in cielo et in terra. Panem nostrum quotidianum da nobis hodie, et dimite nobis debita nostra, sicut et nos dimitimus debitoribus nostris, et ne nos inducas in tentationem, sed libera nos a